Hello there, and welcome back to the Level 2 lessons for the Star Wars Unlimited Judge program. As always, I'm your host Jonah, and this course is going to continue to talk about large event structure. As a Level 2 judge, you may begin to work events that have hundreds, if not thousands of players, and with dozens of judges. While the rules and policies for these events are the same as they are everywhere else, the logistics can change pretty dramatically. Knowing what to expect coming into these events can be a huge boon, so this lesson is going to give you a broad overview of what you need to know to be a bit more comfortable at your first event, like a sector qualifier. This document won't be comprehensive, as there are a lot of specifics that are unique to particular events and organizers. There are a huge number of different tasks that judges handle at an event, and you should get specifics from your lead at a larger event, but knowing the basics of each sphere of responsibility can be helpful even at smaller events. Not every event is going to have all of these tasks, and not every task is going to have a dedicated team. Frequently, teams will have several related tasks, or tasks assigned based on where in the rhythm of the round they have the bandwidth to handle something else. Let's just dive on in. The deck checks team inspects decks to verify that they are legal for the event. This is primarily checking to make sure that there aren't marked cards and that the deck matches the deck list. Decks should be picked up after the player has presented their deck to the opponent, but before they draw their opening hand. The deck should be picked up with the sideboard and kept separate from the sideboard. If the deck check occurs during pre-game procedure for Game 2, the deck and sideboard configuration should be maintained. More details can be found in Level 2 Lesson 17, which covers deck checks. For limited events, draft or sealed, or events where online deck lists are not required, paper deck lists will need to be managed. Often the use of a sorting method or index is utilized. For drafts, ensure that every deck list has the pod number prominently on the deck list, usually on the back of the form, so that they can be quickly sorted into pods when you collect all of them. When performing a deck check, because players are playing within a pod, every pair of deck lists will be in the same pile of 8 lists, and it is relatively easy to find the decks that you need. For sealed, players should prominently write their table number for deck registration construction on their deck list. Then keep a copy of seedings for registration construction sorted by player name, not by table number. As deck lists come in, sort the deck lists into buckets, potentially by tens or hundreds depending on the scale of the event, and then refine it further. When you need to find a deck list, refer to the copy of initial seedings and use that to find their location within the sorted deck lists. The decklist team is also responsible for managing copies of deck lists. If copies need to be made, either to distribute to a media team or to players as part of a decklist swap, they need to ensure that the originals are returned. The end of round team handles several tasks, all associated with making sure every match ends when it's supposed to and is reported in a timely manner. Ensuring that any unreported matches that do not have players at them, sometimes referred to as ghost matches, are brought to the attention of the head judge or other individual to page for player names. Ensuring that players heard end-of-round announcements and are either in their final action phases, beginning their time extension, have called the judge for assistance, or have completed their match and are reporting it. Or, when the number of matches is remaining low enough, assign judges to tables with ongoing matches, prioritizing time extensions, to ensure that a judge is there to answer any questions that may come up, and that the result is reported in a timely manner. Once all tables have been covered, they should assign judges to double up on matches, but not triple up, and assign head judges to the last couple of tables to ensure that the head judge is engaged and aware of the end-of-round proceedings, and is at those last tables, again, in case anything comes up that needs their attention. The stage or start of round team task involves being present at the stage at the start of the round in case a match result was incorrectly reported and one or more matches need to be repaired. With digital match reporting, the frequency of misreported results discovered after pairings have been posted has dropped dramatically, so this isn't something that happens terribly frequently. If there is an error, judges will assist the scorekeeper with whatever is necessary for the repair. Rather than repairing the entire round, either a pairing swap or a cascading repair can occur. If players input the result incorrectly and each player should have the match points that their previous round opponent had, usually their matches can be broken and the players simply swapped. Judges should go to the in-progress affected match to pause it to ensure that no game completes, and that if a player arrives to their corrected match, they don't gain information about their new opponent's deck, as it should have been cleaned up before they arrive. There's the possibility that this impacts a pair down, where one player has one more match win than their opponent, or they're playing against a draw or something along those lines. In this scenario, the scorekeeper may adjust multiple matches to ensure that matches are as close to even records possible. Like with the swap, the in-progress affected matches should be paused, and once the repair is confirmed, cleaned up before the opponent arrives. This can affect several matches at several different breakpoints, and things cascade, hence cascading repair. The pairings team ensures that the physical pairings boards are placed around the room at the beginning of the day as necessary and appropriate for the number of players. Having some number of physical pairings boards so that players who are traveling abroad or have a phone with low battery are still able to find their seats is critical. They also post and take down pairings for each round. Pairings should be taken down after the window for tardiness and absence has been closed, about 10 minutes into the round, and before the round ends, so players don't believe that the next round has been paired. Judges assisting with pairings can sometimes also act as personal digital pairings boards themselves, standing at the central location and providing seat numbers to players who need assistance, using the scorekeeping tools to get the necessary information. At the end of the day or event, sometimes a physical set of standings is printed for player access. This is less common with digital standings available to all players. With coverage, when there's a feature match area, sometimes a judge or multiple judges are needed to act as spotters for the match, tracking base life totals or providing tokens. A spotter is not a table judge and is not expected to minutely track every game action. For high-profile events, a table judge may be assigned who watches the match to help keep the game on track, as well as to be able to quickly answer any questions and minimize broadcast disruptions. However, even with a table judge, the players are responsible for maintaining the game state. For most events, however, coverage simply means having a judge near the area so that they can quickly respond to calls, but they are not explicitly watching the match in full. Depending on the technology present, judges may be required to start, stop, and reset a digital clock display. At some events, this is handled by the scorekeeper or stage staff. For other events, this isn't an available option, so signage should be posted, clearly indicating the time at which the round will end. The floor team's primary responsibility is making sure that judges are well distributed across the event and are not clumping up. Beyond that, they answer calls and watch games of Star Wars Unlimited. All judges are on this task unless they have a different task explicitly assigned to them at that moment. An event with several teams, each with a dedicated task, when one team goes on break, nobody is there to handle that task. The breaks team covers those tasks while other teams are on break. Very similar to the breaks team, and often the task is assigned to the same team, the flex team goes where they need to go. While any judge can and should be prepared to switch tasks, this team's expectation is to change tasks regularly throughout the day. The distribution team is most prevalent for limited events such as draft and sealed. It is their responsibility to coordinate the distribution of all the product that needs to go out to players. Other teams are frequently recruited to assist in the distribution, but are not involved as much in the planning stage. This team can also be tasked with the distribution of goodies that players receive, such as promos, playmats, or other prizes and participation rewards. Frequently, this is one of several tasks assigned to a team, because after the first round, they generally don't have a lot to do. Moving on to side events, on-demand events can be very hectic. These events don't launch on an assigned schedule, but rather whenever the 8th player, or however many we're working with, signs up for the event. These events are often single elimination or best of one, and may not use full scorekeeping software, instead using paper bracket that is easier to manage for many small-scale events. Finding places for these events while remaining efficient with the use of space and consolidating events as they shrink is a key part of the task. Furthermore, collecting results and assisting players in receiving prizes is a constant task, as players don't play on a set timer. On-demand events are frequently untimed because it can be difficult to independently track the round end time for dozens of events individually. Scheduled events, other than the main event, occur at planned times throughout the day, sometimes offering different formats or lower stake events of the same. Oftentimes there's a rebound event partway through the event, after many players will have found themselves eliminated from contention or progression. These events can span the range of competitiveness and formats. Usually a judge is assigned an event to be responsible for and ensures that its rounds turn over in a timely manner and that any questions from players are resolved. Other times, judges on the scheduled sides team are split into subtasks. One of the subtasks is Kickstart. This team launches scheduled side events. They prepare the pairings boards with an event title sheet, find a spot for the event, collect any prizes or promos necessary for distribution at the start of the event, and sometimes help with opening announcements. After things get started, they hand it over to the head judge assigned to that event. When there isn't a dedicated Kickstart team or judge, this responsibility usually falls to the side's lead. The turnover team is sometimes on scheduled sides leads where they don't have individual head judges for side events, instead using floor judges assigned to broad areas and turnover judges who are responsible for keeping every event turning over smoothly. This is a job with constant pressure and many tasks to handle. Now that we've discussed what roles are present at larger events and what the responsibilities of various tasks are, you're well set to begin your first event. Our final lesson on large event structure will cover what you need to know about when to escalate or to consult with another judge. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want more level 2 lessons in your feed, go ahead and subscribe. Join us Tuesdays and Fridays on twitch.tv/SWU_judges for live broadcasts covering the content of these lessons as they are released, and join the Star Wars Unlimited Judge Program Discord, discussion of this and much, much more. As always, good luck and have fun.